Welcome to today's lesson. Today we're looking at expanding double brackets. We have previously looked at expanding brackets where we've had a plus or a minus between the two brackets. But today, notice we have no operation between the two brackets. This means we are multiplying the first bracket by the second bracket. We're going to use our regular method for expanding brackets, which is the grid method. Here, because both of these terms are on the outside of the second bracket, we're going to write both of these terms on the left side of the grid method. So we're going to have x and plus 3. We're then going to write the terms in the second bracket across the top row. So we have x and plus 2. Instead of just doing 2 multiplications that we've seen in our previous expanding lessons, we're now going to have to do 4 multiplications. All of these 4 boxes are our answer boxes in our grid method, and once we've written them in, we need to write down those 4 terms written next to each other underneath. So now we multiply our terms together. X times x is x squared. X times positive 2 is positive 2x. And again, we need to make sure that we include the symbol in our answer. Positive 3 times x is positive 3x. And positive 3 times positive 2 is positive 6. A common mistake here is students would do 3 add 2 and write positive 5, but a reminder in our grid method, we are multiplying. I now write the 4 answer terms down next to each other underneath my grid. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. This is the expand part of the question completed. We have also been asked to simplify, so now I need to look at the terms on this line here and decide which terms are like terms that can be simplified together. 2x and 3x are like terms because they both have the same variable of x and they both have the same power of 1. So underlining plus 2x and plus 3x, we can collect those like terms to get plus 5x. X squared is not a like term with x, and plus 6 is not a like term with x, because they either don't have the same variable or they don't have the same power on the variable. So with the terms that we've not used, these are going to drop down to the next line. So now we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. None of these terms are like terms, therefore we cannot simplify it any further. So we've now done the simplifying part of the question. So the overall answer to x plus 3 times x plus 2 is x squared plus 5x plus 6. On to question 2. Like the last question, we're going to draw in our grid method. We're going to have 3x plus 7 down the left hand side and 2x plus 5 across the top. Now we need to multiply our terms together. 3x times 2x will multiply the numbers first, so 3 times 2 is 6, and x times x is x squared. 3x times positive 5 will give us a positive value. 3 times 5 is 15, and then we have x. Positive 7 times 2x is positive 14x, and finally positive 7 times positive 5 is positive 35. Once we've finished multiplying, again, like in the last question, we need to write down the 4 terms we got as our answers down in a line underneath the grid method. So here we have 6x squared plus 15x plus 14x plus 35. And here we're checking for our like terms that we need to combine in order to simplify this expression. Our first term is 6x squared, but there are no other terms with a variable of x and a power of 2, so therefore 6x squared will not simplify. Plus 15x is our next term, and that's a like term with plus 14x, as they both have a variable of x. So we will underline both of these terms. Plus 35 is not a like term with either of these terms, because it does not have a variable of x. So plus 15x plus 14x will give us plus 29x. The other two terms will drop down. So we get our final answer overall of 6x squared plus 29x plus 35. Question 3 is very similar, except that our multiplying is just going to get slightly more difficult. We start off again by drawing our grid method. 3a plus 5b will go on the left hand side. Again, I'm making sure to include the symbol before this term within the grid method. 9a plus 4b will go across the top. Now we do our multiplying. 3a times 9a, we'll multiply the numbers together first. So 3 times 9 is 27. A times a will be a squared. Positive 4 times 3 is positive 12. A times b is ab. Positive 5 times 9 is positive 45. And b times a is ba. However, to save myself some time here, because BA is already the same as AB, I'm going to write AB here. So when I get to simplifying, I won't have to rewrite that term. I will be able to collect those terms as soon as possible. Finally, positive 5 times positive 4 is positive 20. And B times b is b squared. Again, once we've done all 4 multiplications, we then need to write all of those terms down in a line. So 27a squared plus 12ab plus 45ab plus 20b squared. What we then need to do again is look for like terms to see where we can simplify. 27a squared is the only term of a squared, and 20b squared is the only term of b squared, so they will not be collected together. But again, plus 12ab and plus 45ab can be collected, so we can simplify those to get plus 57ab. The other two terms drop down. And so the final answer is 27a squared plus 57ab plus 20b squared. And now on to today's final question. Expand 4a plus 5b and 3c plus 5d. Again, we start off by drawing our grid method. 4a is our first term, and that goes on the left, and that's followed by plus 5b. And across the top we're going to have 3c and then plus 5d. We start by first multiplying the numbers together. So 4 times 3 gives us 12, and a times c gives us AC. When we multiply different variables together, we just write them one after another. Next, 4 times positive 5 is positive 20, and A times D is AD. Positive 5 times 3 gives us positive 15, and B times C is BC. And finally, positive 5 times positive 5 is positive 25, and B times D is BD. We then, just as before, need to write our 4 answers next to each other in a line. So we get 12AC plus 20AD plus 15BC plus 25BD. And now we need to check if we can simplify this expression. To simplify, each term needs to have exactly the same variables as another term in the expression. Our first term here has AC, but no other term has A and C. This is very similar with 20AD, 15BC and 25BD. No 2 terms share the same 2 variables. Therefore, we cannot simplify this expression. So the final answer is just 12AC plus 20AD plus 15BC plus 25BD. And that concludes today's lesson on expanding.